Majo John Madden. I'm sitting on what they call the Moye. It's a wharf that was put in here in Veracruz back around 1900 over the course of 5 years. And it's a naval base and a museum to that effort that really nailed down Veracruz's position as a very major shipping harbor in Mexico. I want to do about 3 relatively short videos about my relationship with the ocean. I left New Orleans in the spring of 22 because I had loved New Orleans, but in the spring it was heading towards summer. It was going to be too hot and humid, and my goal was to get to the ocean, and it wasn't quite there. It was near the ocean. So I dropped south of New Orleans down to what they call the the Cajun Riviera. And it was rocky beaches, but it was my first real contact with the ocean. And then spent a year tracing the Gulf of Mexico through southwest Louisiana and then Texas in amazing places like Corpus Christi. The bay, that was my last time being around a real bay like this. Huge bay in Corpus Christi, and every morning it would be really calm and I could float in the water. And I made a couple of videos there about being in the water. South Padre Island, I started actually with regular Padre Island, the national seashore, and that was pretty fabulous. And then about 9 months on South Padre Island, roving over to Brownsville to do business like get my passport and to check all the various border crossings along the Rio Grande Valley all the way over to McAllen. So for a solid year I was a beach bum, and my relationship with the ocean got really strong. Now, since getting to Mexico, the year I've been in Mexico, it's been about less than half of the time by the ocean. The beautiful Miramar Beach by Tampico, the lovely downscale Playa Azul near Tuxpan. And I spent the whole summer of 23 in the sleepy little pueblo of El Diamante, a 400-person pueblo that was only a half a mile from the ocean, but they acted like they didn't know it because there was a big lagoon between them and the ocean. You had to go a few miles out of your way and double back. But I discovered, when I finally left El Diamante, I discovered El Laurel, the Tortugas beach, where there's a big effort to release sea turtles into the sea. And beautiful, relatively little chop. The beaches of South Padre Island, it was pretty much chopped. You couldn't really bob around in the water too much. But for whatever reason, right there at El Laurel, it was less. But I spent a lot of time in Mexico up in the mountains. When I first crossed into Mexico a year ago, I was up in Victoria in the Sierra Madre Oriental Mountains, the eastern range. And then after El Diamante, I went up to Jalapa because there was a woman there and because I had heard it was a pretty amazing city. And I spent 3 months. I spent the whole Christmas season, right up to right before Christmas, in Jalapa, which was a spectacular city, but with terrible weather in the winter. It was too cold and rainy and overcast. And I came down here to Veracruz on Noche Viejo, the old night, the New Year's Eve. Arrived here December 31st and spent 2 months here, January and February, but honestly did not go back to the water. I walked along the water all the time here. Walked on the beaches. Boca del Rio is their affluent neighbor to the south with beautiful beaches, but only once swam. I did take one kayaking lesson, which was quite evocative. You can see Isla Sacrificios over there. That's straight across from Playa La Bamba and Boca del Rio, and I did swim there one morning. But then one more foray up into the mountains. I was planning to head out to the Riviera Maya, the end of the Yucatan, where I've got a friend in Cozumel. But before doing that, I had heard about Orizaba, which is up in the mountains about 3 miles west of here. And it's a official Mágico Pueblo, a magical pueblo. And I spent 7 weeks up there, which were very enchanted, but contained 2 pretty significant traumas. I was arrested, which that didn't have to be bad. The jail was fine. People treated me right. They knew that I had been arrested on a technicality, and they all called me Hefe Chief and treated me really well. But the trauma was that in the cell I was in, just 6 feet away from me, one rogue jailer beat the crap out of this street kid. And that was very traumatic. And it set in motion a big series of steps of me reporting the incident and getting the help of the personnel department for the city of Orizaba, the police captain, because it really was a genuinely very good police department. And we got justice for that kid and a very serious disciplinary plan for that cop. The only reason they didn't fire him, well, 2 reasons. They were very humanistic. It was an amazingly sophisticated human resources operation. They said, no, let's not break him. Let's see if he can be rehabilitated. And if we fire him, he's going to come after you because he'll know you were the one who reported it. So let's keep you safe by putting him on a very short leash where he'll have everything to lose if he messes with you. And you can go back to enjoying your time in Orizaba. Which I did for a couple weeks before my car was stolen. So that was a huge trauma because for 4 years I was Mr. Camper Van guy. And then an entire change in my lifestyle. I couldn't afford to replace that van. And it was so old and had so many problems. It was a mercy to be rid of it, really. And I embraced the idea of coming back down here to Veracruz and moving into an apartment, which right now I'm in an apartment. That hotel you see out there, the beige one, the shorter one, and that's Abasolo Avenida, and my apartment is just a block and a half up there, and I've been there for almost 3 weeks. But I had 2 more big traumas here. The bigger one was, before I moved into that apartment, I thought I was going to get it the afternoon of May 2nd, and I had 4,000 pesos in my pocket to put down on it. But it didn't come through, and I went up to Playa La Bamba, where I've got friends at Punta Azul Hotel, and said, I'm just going to spend the night on the beach. I love this beach. I've had so many great experiences while I got robbed. 2 guys impersonating cops took all my money. And that unleashed a night of walking all night, because I no longer felt safe on the beach, in shoes, the only shoes I had left after my car was stolen, really didn't fit well. Beat the crap out of my feet. I finally got the apartment 2 days later. But my feet were so beat up that old foot infections flared up. My feet are looking pretty good now, but they were so inflamed. In Orizaba, the big sandwich is a pambazo on a hoagie bun. And I was saying my feet looked like 2 pambazos. So 10 days ago, I spent the day in the ER, in the big poor person's hospital, Hospital General over here downtown Veracruz. And the other thing that happened was right behind the hotel here one night, one of the street kids who dives for coins over there stole my big, wonderful portatilla bateria, my portable battery for my phone. It was 1,000 peso item. I managed to hit him real hard in the forehead with this phone, but he got away with it. So there was a lot of trauma. I went through a lot of trauma. And I want to talk about the power of the ocean to heal trauma, because There's still some trauma because my landlord over there is a wreck. He can't fix anything. I have no running water because he can't fix it without flooding the apartment. And just yesterday I realized he's a hopeless liar and a con man. He conned me out of 600 pesos yesterday, theoretically, to get a bed, which didn't happen. So that's still traumatic. But what's been happening for me is in this bay, which you can see, there's a breakwater down there that goes all the way out to a lighthouse out there, and just a little narrow shipping channel where the boats come in and out. And I've been swimming every morning for the last 8, I think, at least an hour every morning. And it's been so healing for me. So healing for me. Mostly I stay over there by the breakwater. This morning I swam way past those 3 boats out there, which are tour boats which take people out. I don't stay inside the buoys. No, I swim early before the lifeguard comes on. And it's so calm, it's completely safe out here. And this morning I'm not a strong swimmer. I don't do a whole lot of breaststroke. No, I bob around. Mostly I've been bobbing around and doing backstroke and side stroke, but really just getting happy in the water, and my thoughts get so calm, I get so quiet inside. 2 days ago I came out of the water and I was incredibly stoned. It was like, wow, everything has stopped. And yesterday I guess overdid with an hour out there, because when I tried to go into a couple of different coffee shops to do my usual drill of uploading my videos, I just couldn't do that kind of analytic work, and I ended up, when it got cooler in the evening, just walking for an hour. Today I've done some really good work with my videos, but when I came out from Moretto coffee shop, which is back that way, I said, wow, you are stoned, man. You are so high. Being in the water is really powerful. It's incredibly healing. And I have for 2 years been talking about a product of being in the water with Majo. My primary product is Being with Majo, because since my big spiritual experience 4 years ago, I'm real good at being. And my 2 years of being along the ocean, I realized, yeah, but the second calling is to get people back in the water. And I'm coming back to that. All kinds of thoughts. I'm going to be leaving for Cozumel in a couple of weeks, which has been my destination for a couple of years. And finally settling. I thought maybe I'd settle in Veracruz, but I realized, no. You got to go on to the real ocean playground, where life is built around the ocean. Here in Veracruz, they have beautiful port, but people don't really appreciate the ocean. Where the fabulous beaches are up there, the rich people live in their condos and they don't swim. No, they barely pay attention to the water. They go out for lunch. So, but these 8 days or so of really coming back to the water have crystallized for me. It's time. Time to go to a place where you can put down roots, start offering your Being with Majo product and Being in the Water project. And all that trauma I've been through the last couple months is all ebbing away. All ebbing away. Getting peaceful and happy and slow. I'm already on island time, even though I'm not yet on an island, but I love being on Galveston Island, and I love being on South Padre Island. I love being on an island. And that's part of why I realized, no, not Cancun, not Playa del Carmen. Go to Cozumel. Okay, stop that. Buenas tardes.